Yes, sir. Welcome everybody to another episode of YSN Radio. Y'all rocking with the man YSN. I got a very special guest in the building with me, the one and only Nashville's own Localz Only is in the building, my friend. How you doing, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. Really good. Feel blessed, man. Excited.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. You got a big show coming up, man. You got the Localz Only fashion show coming up. You're debuting some new Air Maxes, man. Tell me about that.
Oh, man. Okay. So, a couple of things. We got the show, and how can I put it? It won't be a fashion show vibe per se, but there will be a lot of beautiful women. Also, we're going to do a photo shoot, and then there will be some artists that's going to close the show. Let me see, Solo Graves, Goldie, Good Morning Coffee, just to name a few.
Facts.
And then as far as the shoes, yes, we are celebrating the 95 Air. And to be real, yes, I have had people stop and think these are Air Maxes, but no, they're better.
So what are these?
So these, to be real, man, I wish I had some on me, but I've sold out. They are the first shoe that we have made as far as a brand came together and put our stamp on it. This is our product.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, any clothing brand, they obviously have the same thing as far as starting off the t-shirt. So we've come from t-shirt, hoodie, pants, hat. Now we have shoes, and now we're just trying to, keep evolving. But we feel real proud. So just want to put the shoes in front of the people. So far, we try to keep it where they'd be on pre-order basis, and then tomorrow would be the official date of selling and shipping. But been so popular that when people have seen them, they've bought them off the site even when we don't even have the sizes listed. We was hoping that would stray people from purchasing, but so when they still submit the purchase, we still got to get them shipped out. So with that being said, one thing turned to another, and now we're close to selling out of the last pairs we have. So restock's coming soon, but that's a good problem to have. Eventually that's what we wanted. We wanted to sell out. So just proud. I mean, to be real, anyone, whether it's shirts or anything, if you're building a business, to have a goal of having stuff sell out or have people want to come see your product, it sounds good. It sounds like something that's a joyous moment, but the grind of getting there, man, it's a lot of BS along the way.
Right. How so?
I mean, come on. I mean, more or less, some can be self-inflicted. I think a lot of people starting off with a business, they're just so in the midst of thinking just the good things from it that they'll overlook a couple of key things of, how can I put it, fine-tuning things, presentation, which, I mean, probably a lot of stuff you won't get until you bump your head and just fail. But, I mean, more or less, you want to present your product as being the best thing, even when you haven't gone through the trials and tribulations to make it the best thing.
Facts. So what are some trials and tribulations that you have bumped into in starting your own business?
Oh, man, I think, let me see. When we first launched, and I'm like, okay, got the business license, and I'm like, okay, this is Localz Only.
Right.
I want to have people come and see the product. Let me do a show. The first date, we had to postpone and push back the date, which I hate doing. Because I feel like it puts a bad name and a bad light on your brand.
Right.
Like, whatever date I have, I want to, push through it regardless. So, that was one of them. Or if I'm doing a show, how can I put it? Being unorganized or being ill-prepped, it'll show.
Facts.
It always definitely shows. So
piss poor preparation promotes punishment.
Exactly. Every time. So understanding that, or understanding the key of just putting more effort into even the small things or the things that you think will work itself out the day of the show, which you don't want to have that. You don't want to have too many things that we'll just figure it out once we get there.
Right. So in launching a brand that's very unique and very special that you can't find anywhere else, do you find yourself competing with other brands or other companies in the area, or do you just more so focus on just creating the best product as possible?
I mean, at the end of the day, when you come into the clothing aspect, you're competing with everyone from Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Nike, down to a Hanes t-shirt for $5. So don't get me wrong. I understand. There's other brands that we might sell merch, or we even might have logos that could even be characterized or almost looking the same. I'm not in competition with anyone, because at the end of the day, we're all in competition.
Facts.
So for me, I have to just focus on what can I do to make my product be sustainable as far as something that I can put my stamp on. It's always quality when the consumer gets it. And then also on the business end, what can I have a price that makes sense for me? Because at the end of the day, when people start in with a business, they'll have a price that's so exuberant before the product, for the quality is even like within it with even sustain.
Right.
Or you can have so much quality, but the price is cheap that you're actually spiting your nose just to cut your face on some product that's not going to do anything. You'll sell, but as far as the overhead, you'll never catch up. So working out something like that, I feel like we've like got a perfect niche going on right now.
Yeah, I like how you touched on the fact that a lot of people, they launch a product and they have the prices super high. I think that's one thing that black businesses, you know, a lot of people give flack for, is that they try to sell a $10 t-shirt for $50 with like a stupid ass phrase on it, you know. So it's like, with that being said, what was, when you were creating this brand and coming up with ways to market it to the people, what was it like coming up with ways to make people want it and set it apart and make like, hey, this is actually something you should be spending money on, not as far as like, it's a black business, you should support it.
No, true enough. Well, the first thing, on the first design where there's just down to the cat holding the money, eyes could be construed where he might be coming off high or off the substance or something, and then he's holding something that could be labeled a cigarette or CBD or a joint, if you will. Regardless, it tapped into the three things I liked. I liked the money aspect. The Nashville Cat is a football team, and if you compare the logos, I'm just shedding light on the arena football team we had before the Titans. It was the first football team we ever had in the city of Nashville.
That's some history right there.
Yeah, just a little tidbit. And then on the money bag, I don't know if, as far as on the joint, I mean, who doesn't like, you know,
right,
just expressing oneself? So
Facts.
that's like all it is. I was like, if anyone can agree on one of these things that I presented, then long story short, Localz Only is just an extension of me. Just represent Nashville, represent my love for finding ways of getting money, and then at the same time relaxing with some CBD or THC. And even though I don't partake cigarettes, like whatever, just anybody can mess with that, then I feel like you can mess with Localz Only. So that's what started off. That's what I felt would set me apart, as opposed to just having blank shirt, insert phrase here, $50 price tag.
Right.
Now, I mean, the first hoodies we had were $60, and just being a brand that just started within 3 months is kind of, you know, you got to figure out a way of how do you justify it. So for me, Localz Only, outside of just a design that's placed on clothes, we are a brand that works with artists, whether it is helping out your artists as far as doing a show for them where they have a platform to present music, or if you're a model or you're just trying to be someone that wants to do something as far as show off your other artistry, we have other platforms for that as well. So that's where the basis of, that's how I build my audience, that's how I build my connections with people, and that's what keeps me going, of just helping out the people that's eventually like really helped me, because that's what's got me in certain places and open up a lot of doors, just working with artists.
Most definitely, man. And I feel like that's what a lot of brands do. They follow that same model, working with a lot of artists who, especially on the underground, because I feel like they have more of a connect to the streets. And so what are the ways working with artists have helped your brand grow?
I mean, on a couple of ways. I mean, it brings a new audience of interactions. If I have a venue, I have a platform, I have a space where an artist can be like, hey, this is where I can do a show. How do I do another shows and stuff of that nature, as well as it has their audience come and see, okay, I came to see random artists, but I've come into contact with Localz Only. So it's been something that's been like a kinetic relationship. I give artists a platform where they not only have to just make a song in the studio, post it on their social media, and hope someone streams it, but they actually have a space they can perform it live, and then they can get that feedback if the song you put on this effort and hours in is actually good enough or well enough to be done, or it gives you essential tools of what you need to touch up on. So that's the main thing I'm glad to offer. Just I give artists a space to create, get some ideas put out there, and that way they can keep going and keep making better music.
Facts, man. So what brands do you look up to as far as inspiration and working with these artists? We see Supreme doing a lot of stuff with, especially in the early days, you know, they with Tyler the Creator and Odd Future. I feel like that boosted their name and put it out in people's faces. You got Gucci, of course, is touted in every single rap song. So what brands do you look up to as far as working with these artists and getting the name out for brand recognition?
I think for me, Rip and Dip is the brand that I would probably look for like the most, that probably motivates me, especially my earlier days. And the main reason, because they just have this can we cuss on this?
Oh yeah, must have.
Yeah, they just have this like not give a fuck attitude, which is something that I mean, anyone I think coming out wants to have essentially, but they do it so well where it still gets the point across. The brand is still presented professional wise. So
Right.
that's something I look forward to. I want to just have my ideas. If we're just going to dissect the clothes, I just want to have it where my ideas, what I want to bring is out there. I don't feel restricted, but at the same time it's presented well that whoever wants to purchase and be a part of the brand doesn't feel like they're investing their money in salacious or something like that. Just a brand that's just being pretentious.
So would you ever do any collabs with artists? Like, a lot of people rappers, like you got to see Lil Yachty and Kanye West merging with Nautica or Gap. Would you ever be interested in working with an artist exclusively for coming out with it? Like, let's say Smoke Perp comes to town, he wants to do a Smoke Perp Localz Only collab. Would you be interested in doing something like that?
Yes and no.
Why is that?
I mean, yes, like it's always good to create and collab, but no, you don't always have to collab and create with everyone. I think sometimes, especially when you're coming out with whether it's clothes or just you're building a business, you have this idea, okay, I want to get a new audience, let me build and create with a lot of people, but at the same time, I feel like you're wearing yourself thin and wasting time that you can just be focusing on your own.
Facts.
So, it would have to make sense. I have no objections of working with people, but at the same time, I'm not in a rush.
Right.
Because sometimes you just gotta just be smart and just be particular on who you decide to work with any brand that does a collab.
Most definitely. So where do you see yourself going in within the next 10 years? Do you feel like Localz Only is going to make its way into the malls and on major fashion platforms?
To be honest, that is the goal. So the main thing I'm trying to do now is just put in the legwork where, let's say 2030 to be exact, Localz Only would be a brand that for lack of a better word, would be a business that can be evaluated and sold at a point.
Right.
So for me, I have to put in the groundwork. I have to do everything to make it fine-tuned and make it established and put the finishing touches on it before I even evaluate and put a price on it. So for now, we're in year 3. I'm just having fun with it at this point. Most of the work I've put in is actually coming to fruition. So it just lets me know I got to keep putting in more work and just having more fun.
Yeah, most definitely. I feel like if you're having fun with it, that makes the work not even feel like work.
Yeah.
That's how I am with radio and podcasting and stuff. You feel me? It's very time consuming, but I enjoy doing it, so I really don't feel like I'm working at all.
Like this setup is dope.
Appreciate it, man. I literally just started, bro, so it was like just humble beginnings, man. But I'm having a good time. You feel me?
How long is this just starting? Because this is like, you got the pop filters and everything.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lie, bro. I literally just started recording this Friday. What's today? So today is July 30th on the day of recording. And
this is like less than week 1?
This was I recorded my first episode on July 24th.
So, okay. So we're tomorrow will be week 1.
Yeah.
I would only critique, if you want to call it that, I would just say have a GoPro or something.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like I'm definitely starting out as far as like with the audio aspect, and then funds.
No, this is crisp. This is clean. Like, yo,
I appreciate it, man. I take a lot of inspiration from people like Adam 22, No Jumper, and Joe Rogan and stuff. Because No Jumper is one of the leading hip hop podcasts right now, and they started off strictly audio. You feel me? And just the more it grew, of course, they were able to invest in more equipment. But you got to start from somewhere,
Oh, no, like most definitely. I mean, let me see. I don't know if you'll be able to come out tomorrow, especially.
Most definitely.
Salute the coffee, but I want you to get in contact with a videographer. Like, he's willing to shoot pretty much any and everything. Super professional. Quality is impeccable, and I'm like, just the way, like I'm saying, like this setup, the vibe. This is week 1. Y'all two would.
What's his name?
I call him Ghost.
Is he white?
No.
Okay, that would make sense.
No, I call him Ghost for other reasons, like an inside joke. But no, I can send you his IG information. But like dude is like crazy with the camera. But anyway, we just sidetracked. I just had to shout you out. This shit is fire.
I appreciate it, man. So it's like, I was watching this documentary the other day about fashion and hip hop, and it was talking about how clothes make a person feel. Because to anybody, clothes is can be arbitrary. It's just something that covers up your body. So I feel like what separates clothes from fashion is one, the message that is representing and how it makes a person feel. So taking that into consideration, what's the message that you're trying to convey with Localz Only, and how do you want people to feel when they're wearing one of your merchandise?
The message I want to convey as a brand, we're at the end of the day working with artists. We're just a brand that lets artists be themselves. But when it comes down to the clothed aspect, just the clothing aspects, period, I want people to feel like they're wearing some dope shit.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we're in year 3. I would say, for the most part, if I'm being completely honest, this would be at the beginning of this year. We tweaked we had some final tweaks, and this would be the first year where we presented the product outside of me saying who I am, what the brand represents. Just here's the product. This will be the first time when I see the reaction, whether male or female. I can see it in their face before they even say how they feel. They done got in contact with some dope shit.
Right.
So to have that, like, from female pieces down to male pieces, top and bottom sets, the hat wear, the shoes, when they have it in their hands and they're feeling it or they're seeing it, I feel like we hit out the park. Which, like I said, in the 3 years, it's probably the first time we've done it consistently, and it feels like extremely well. So outside of branding purposes, which is always good to like have a mindset, a motto, if you will, like this is what we see ourselves as a brand. But fuck all that. And then the day, if you're telling someone purchase my clothing, I want the people to have dope shit. So like again, from the shoes, had nothing but dope feedback. I'm really excited to show people the future releases. I don't even know if I can expound on that, but this is not the first and only shoe. I will say that.
Gotcha, man. Have you had anybody try to bootleg your shit yet?
Bootleg it? No.
Some knockoff Localz Only, like Localz with an S instead of a Z.
Localz. Let me see. Well, I'll put it to you like this: with Localz Only, if we just got to be, as far as just saying the phrase, it's a phrase that's been thrown around in essence. So for me, I never look at it as like, okay, if someone does an S or anything like that, it's a shot at me. I look at it as, what do I have to do to have it where my shit cannot be obtainable? Because at the end of the day, regardless of the name or the cat or the stitching, what are the clothes? What are the clothing looking like?
Right.
Like, are they buying it because of the stitching, or are they buying it because of the full garment? So for me, whether they're buying it for either or, I'm just glad they're making a purchase at the end of the day.
Right.
But like I said, when you make clothes, or if you're an artist making music, or if you're a photographer taking photos, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. So
most definitely, I feel like imitation is the greatest form of flattery, and I always like wonder how like the designers at Gucci and Louis feel about people making knockoffs of their shit, man, because you run into it all the time. People getting exposed for wearing fake shoes and like fake clothes and shit like that. So I always wonder like how the designers feel like, damn, people really out here bootlegging my shit. But I feel like that's more so of like a compliment, because think about it, in the 90s, man, you know who Dapper Dan is?
Oh yeah, salute to Dapper Dan.
Yeah, most definitely. So I know he had like a shop, and he was taking like Louis V prints and making like just crazy designs with like Louis V prints, and they may have not have been like authentic Louis Vuitton or authentic Gucci, but this shit was dope as fuck. You feel me? And like they actually came under fire because they raided his store like back in the 90s, man. He was like selling like all these like customized Gucci and Louis like pieces, you feel me? And I remember it was like this one thing, he had made this jacket, this Gucci jacket with like puffed out sleeves, which was looking like some fucking soda patch or something. And so a couple years ago, Gucci ended up
releasing the same one.
Yeah, even granted it was like 20 years after the fact, but a lot of people gave him flack because like, damn, y'all shut this man's store down over doing the same thing, then y'all steal his idea, So I always like wonder, like in the fashion industry, when it comes to like copying and things like that, like how do designers feel about other brands like biting their style, like other designers biting their style? Do you feel slighted in a way, or is it kind of like like, hey man, that means my shit is kind of dope if people want to be out here drawing from my ideas?
For me, whether it's whether I come in contact with brands or just something in general that's how you would say copying or trying to imitate it, I cannot feel away, because if it is imitation, I'd feel like the audience I've built and the people that come in contact with my brand, they understand what they're getting. So if they come in contact with imitation, I feel like they would be able to just figure that out. Right. But as far as that on Dapper Dan, I don't know if it was with Gucci or Louis Vuitton, but I think he did. I think they was able to actually like give him a position. Like,
they had definitely after the backlash, they end up working with him. But
it
was
still
just the same thing. Like,
I think it was like almost 20 or 30 years later before they actually like gave him his just due. So with that being said, that's why I can't get into, how can I say it, just in the petty things of going back and forth with anything that I come in contact with imitation, because I'm wasting time with it. I'd rather just keep putting out more of my ideas, having them come together, and then, like I said, down the road over time, the stuff will just show.
Most definitely. I feel like it kind of helps your brand grow a little bit more because, like, this is some knockoff Localz Only. Get you some real shit. And then they go like, all right, well, fuck it. Let me find some real Localz Only.
Nah, for real. For real.
That's dope as hell, man. So you talk a lot about brand recognition and stuff, man. So, like, what methods did you use to solidify your brand, and how did you make your brand what it is? Like, what was the process to solidify your brand and make it so recognizable?
For me, I try to just not to like make it a basketball thing, but almost do a triangle offense of initially what do I think is gonna be dope in my mind, and then from that I try to do the standpoint, sketch it out, do what I have to do to make it formatable, then put it on clothing. And then from there, I try to think of ways of how can I get this product in front of people's faces without doing the easy thing of just posting it and saying, click link in bio,
right?
Repeat time after time. So from there, whether it's the shows, getting in contact with artists, it helps me get the product in front of people, and then from there it's just a repeat effect. Get in contact with more people, create more designs, and that's pretty much it. Right. So just trying to do the work of actually like getting in contact with people, making that interaction, and not just relying solely on social media.
Yeah, I think the business model of working with artists and incorporating them to help push the brand is a very smart business model, because a big part of hip hop is being fly. You know, nobody wants to be out here looking tacky. If you got some dope shit for niggas to wear, they definitely gonna wear your shit, you feel me? So I feel like, you know, like what you're doing, putting on shows and getting artists and models involved with the process, that's some really dope shit that you're doing.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. So, like, when you see rappers coming out with their own clothing line, you see Lil Wayne with Truck Fit, and a while back Jay-Z had Rockaware, and a lot of rappers come out with their own clothing line. How do you feel about people getting into the fashion industry more so than the money? Do you feel like if you're trying to get into the fashion industry, should you have an eye for fashion, or should you get into it just because it's a lucrative business?
Well, with anything that's labeled as a lucrative business, even if there's money to be made from it, it's really hard to just make money from it if the quality is trash. Right. So I think with artists that you've named, and probably more artists that'll make, even artists now when they're showing, okay, we can't do shows, we have to make merch. I think what they will quickly come across is you have to make something that's obtainable, or that's something a person will want to buy. Right. So from that, either you take the time to sketch the ideas and figure out what are you going to place on what garment, off what thread, what stitch count, vinyl, vector, direct the garment, labeling, are we doing what season, what colorway. Like once you start like going through all that, you start figuring, do you want to invest that time into it and take away from the music, or would you rather just put your name on it and have someone else take over? Right. So if we're going to say off successful brands that I've seen done, I mean, I know this guy's like pit of controversy, but I have to say Kanye West to me is the only person that's done it well, consistently, consecutively. Right. Whether it was from shoe releases to garment releases. I mean, you've had your Pharrells, you might have A$AP Rocky come out with a colorway, or even Drake that come out with a shoe collab, but full-on clothing line that just, I mean, come on. Like, he just did a deal with Gap. It's like, say what you want to say, but the time it takes, I think it shows like, okay, he had to take away some time. And you can say right around the time the clothing pop off, maybe the music dip, but again, when you're putting that much time and effort into it, it's going to show. It's going to show whether you cared about it or whether you didn't. And that's how I feel. Gotcha.
Do you feel like you're on the path to being like the next Virgil, as far as like a designer in the rap community that's talked about so much? You might as well be a rapper.
That is dope, but at the same time, I have to do how can I put this? Seeing how Virgil is kind of like in hot water in this kind of cancel area or cancel period that we're in, it shows me that if I do keep making moves that kind of puts me in that light, I have to watch my footing, because for me, I have a trolling asshole personality by nature. So if I keep doing what I'm doing, then my status was to build, then I would realize what I would consider as jokes, what I consider as harmless banter, could be taken away, especially in these crazy times that we in.
Oh, most definitely. You gotta definitely watch your tongue out here, bro.
So for that, I don't know. As far as the transition, that also showed me when I'm making clothing, I also have to watch what I put, or as far as what demographic I choose to sell my items to.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. So in the designing process, do you design all your pieces yourself, or do you have a team that kind of helps you with different aspects of it?
As far as the team, it's pretty much me, myself, and I.
Oh, for sure.
Nah, but but no, I would say the team. It might sound cliche, but it's really the consumers. Like. Mm-hmm. Out of the 3 years from what we started with of just simple Localz Only, the original design that you probably seen on hats or with the cap, it was just that on your basic black t-shirts, black hoodies. So to have that, keep incorporating and bringing it in front of people, I was getting their opinions, I was getting their feel, I was just getting their general reactions off the brand. So for me, it's all about how do people feel about what I'm offering to them. Mm-hmm. And what I've came across is people want to feel fly. They want to feel good. Sometimes they just want to throw on a tee or throw on a hoodie, or sometimes they want to throw on some fly shit. So from that, I take it, go into consideration, and then I just got to do my research and figure out how can I present the brand, but also give them some fly shit at the same time.
Right. What kind of research goes into creating clothes?
Man, you got to, it's almost like you got to do studying. Mm-hmm. You can look at what's considered in fashion, but that can just have so many lanes of what's urban fashion, what's European fashion, or what's fashion now. And it goes in all these different criteria. Mm-hmm. But then I would say it always comes down to what demographic are you trying to sell to, and what demographic are you already sold to in the past. Like, what's your general audience? Right. So for me, we're working with artists. My age range is from I would say at the lowest, high school graduates up into mid-level junior seniors in college. Right. Demographic. So, millennial based. Mm-hmm. And for, you want to wear some fly shit. Sometimes you want to wear graphic tees. Sometimes you want to wear shit, the cargo pants with some extra shit. I know what the kids wear. They want some fly shit. Right. So from that, we're just doing our research as far as following trends, but at the same time putting our stamp on it.
Makes sense. Yeah. So do you ever go to like any other fashion shows in the area, or like pay attention to like different reveals and releases of more popular brands to draw inspiration from?
Let me see. As far as fashion show purposes, if I'm not, trying to present a total new line on my own, then I might just present future lines to come at Trap Art. Mm-hmm. But aside from that, no. Only because I try not to get motivation from my peer group audience, if that makes sense. Yeah. So for me, I just try to get motivation from, how can I put it, outward sources, but I also figure out how can I use that with what I already have to make something that makes sense for me.
Gotcha. What's an outward source?
So when I was tapping in, when I was saying earlier, my first motivation was Rip and Dip. Yeah. I see how they present their brand as far as how they place certain items, what they do with their logo design placement. Almost it makes you, how can I put it, when I look at Rip and Dip, when I go to their page on IG, it's almost like I'm investing into their world. Mm-hmm. So for that, I try to figure out what can I do to make Localz Only feel like it's its own world when you encapsulate into it. Right. So from the show aspect, cool, I feel like that's a celebration. But as far as when it comes down to the brand itself, I try to put my stamp on how do I feel like the Localz Only brand, as far as the clothing, coincides with what we're presenting as far as the show, which I think we actually done that with tomorrow, so I'm excited.
Most definitely, man. That's pretty dope, bro, because how you expounded on entering their world, like the world of Rip and Dip. I think that's one thing that fashion does a great job of, you feel me? Especially, like, think about luxury brands. If you have on some Prada or some Dior, you feel like you're in the world of a millionaire living a lavish life. You
feel the touch.
Exactly. Yeah. So you always want to create that connection with, your target audience, make them feel like they're entering your world, wherever your world may be. I know right now I'm wearing a tie-dye t-shirt, you feel me? So I'm like in the world of like just some chill shit, you feel me? But if I'm wearing like a throwback jersey, I may feel like I'm in 2002 or something like
Bringing
that.
Bring back the vibe.
It's all about the feeling that people make, because the clothes make the man. Well, no. What's the saying? Is like the clothes don't make the man makes the clothes. Yeah.
But at the same time, clothes make a motherfucker feel good, though.
Exactly, man. Because it's like if you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you do good. You know. So that's one thing I like about the fashion game, and like I want to I'm glad I got to have this conversation with you, man, because it's like, you know, a lot of people they look at the brands and they see these pieces in the malls like Gucci and Prada and all this. They never really think you never really think about like who was the person who designed this, like what was their process going into this, you feel me? Like no one ever really talks about that, you know. So I've always been interested in like the creative process behind putting out such dope pieces for people to wear, because you know you're really making people's days, and like, you know, like based on like think about it, man. If your outfit is not what you feel like it should be, are you going to be going out?
Nah, you're gonna probably stay in.
Exactly, man. So like what you're doing is you're creating like people's nights. You're giving them opportunities, and just opening up doors for them to like go out and be themselves and express themselves, man. And that's a really special power to have, man, because clothes is very important to people, whether you like it or not. Like it really is.
No, that's a great point. That's super dope. I never like looked at it in that way, but I have seen people, at least like I said, most recently. It makes me feel good if I see people post the brand, whether they're rocking some merch, whether it's the hat or the shirt, or I actually saw someone wear the full body tracksuit and the shoes. So I was like, geez, like I supplied someone's fit top to bottom,
right,
off some ideas I thought about years ago. So that's crazy how stuff has come full circle. So now that is a good point.
Most definitely, man. Because I know one of my favorite brands is Ralph Lauren Polo. I've never met Ralph Lauren before. I don't even know what the man looks like. But I know when I put on some polo, I feel like a successful nigga. Like, I don't know why. It just makes me feel good. So anytime I want to go somewhere, if I'm starting a new job, going in, I got an exam or something, I make sure
you feel good.
I put some polo on. It makes me feel good, man. So it's like,
test ready, interview ready, date ready. Like you can do all three in the same day with a polo shirt.
Exactly,
so,
man.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
And so it's like with the Localz Only, man. You like you said, bro. Like when we was talking about earlier, you're making people feel a certain way, man. So it's like whether they're going to the skate park, they finna go shoot a video, they finna go to the studio, they want to throw some Localz Only, man, because it's gonna put them in that vibe, put them in that mode. You know, think about how many rappers rap about the shit they got on. It makes them feel a certain way, you know. And it's crazy, man. You have control over people's feelings with clothes, bro. Like fashion it's a key element to the game, bro. You got it.
No, I appreciate that. It's definitely humbling because, I mean, it's one thing to say now, like, it feels good to present product and you can see the joy in people's faces, and, of course, they wear it and repost it. But at the end of the day, there's also a flip side when you're in the beginning and you just have some product that's just not hidden.
Right.
Or, I mean, if anyone knows whether like I said, I design most of everything, but not out of being selfish, but more or less being cost efficient. Because I've come in contact with graphic designers, and they'll have like exorbitant prices off one design, and they're just gonna just put all my ideas on the shelf.
Right.
Because I don't know if you know this, but let's say, let me see, I'm looking at this sticker OF, just 2 letters.
Yeah.
The process it would take to get that one design into a specific shop that's gonna make shirts for you or hats or whatever you want to do, one is going to be price and one is going to be days in between. So for me, take all that time, all the money you put into it, you got the product, it comes to you, whether you got it drop shipped or whether it was a store down the street. All this to say this, you put in all that time and effort, you invest into it, and then you present it to someone, to see their general reaction that they don't want to mess with it, that has to be the most like just disappointing feeling. So it's like, I mean, like I said, outside of myself doing the research of what I think will work, I've definitely come in contact with people and just seen this isn't hidden.
Right.
So we can just keep beating our head against the wall and being stubborn, which I've seen most brands do. Well, since my brand is the brand, I need them to see this, which I get it. But fam, if the clothes ain't hidden,
it just ain't hidden, man. Speaking of clothes not hidden, bro, you see Kanye putting out this bullshit, bro. It's like he's just driving home. What's that road in LA where the homeless people, Skid Row, and like he was driving on Skid Row, and was like, damn, these niggas fresh as hell, and just took that and just threw it on some niggas in the fashion show and trying to sell it off as fashion. Do you feel like people, like, when they making these ugly ass, like I'm just being real, you feel me? Like, you seen Kanye's new shoes and some of like the other pieces he put out. I can understand the creative process, but like you said, like, you know, it's just not hitting. So, and you see people just off the fact that this is Kanye stuff. They're sleeping outside. They're staying up to like the ass crack of dawn to get on the computer and buy it first, man. How do you feel like? Do you feel like that's kind of like a slap in the face to designers who are actually putting time and effort into making sure they create the best quality material possible?
No.
And why is that?
Because I feel like if any designer was in position of Kanye, of like you said, putting out BS or putting out anything and knowing people, like you said, will still want to stay up, miss out on work just to get it, I don't think any designer would have an issue. Now, on the flip side of that, I think, which we probably won't see, which I'm not trying to wish this on anyone, but for Kanye West to do this and then it sells, we've only seen it work when someone is, how can I put this without sounding grim, while he's still alive, if that makes sense. Right. So I don't know how his brand would stay relevant after his passing, but you can see with Apple, it's still here today without Steve Jobs. You might feel the way that on the new phone you just get another camera, nothing like nothing substantial, but still it is still Apple. It's still $1,000 and people are still buying it. So for that, I don't look at it as a slap in the face. I mean, like I said, who would not want to be in Kanye West's position? So instead of taking time on my day to be mad, I just try to figure out ways of how can I invest myself in my brand to put out a product that people want. So not saying we're Kanye West, but to have a shoe drop release party tomorrow and we've already sold out 85% for this quarter of just the shoes, it feels pretty good.
Most definitely. That's something to be proud of.
Yeah, so with that being said, I mean, salute to Kanye. But at the end of the day, I just got to worry about Localz Only.
Most definitely, man. And definitely salute to Kanye. I was using that as an example just about the attachment people have to the brand itself. No matter what it looks like, they're in the loyalty to the brand. They are going to stay up and go through all this no matter what it looks like. You feel me?
But not to cut you off, are you you're a basketball fan?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you seen The Last Dance?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
I actually just watched that last week.
Okay. So for me, I mean, obviously, it's Mike Jordan, blah, blah, blah. But the main thing I took from it, and they only tapped into it maybe like here and there, but he stated like, okay, obviously Nike was not Nike before Jordan came into the picture.
Facts.
But after him being Jordan, the MVPs, the championships, him balling out, it made Nike one on the way to be a powerhouse. Of course, they got LeBron James, and here we are today. But I say all that to say this: he made the shoe value at what it was off what he did.
Right.
For that brand.
Exactly. So you think it's like not more so the look or the aesthetic of the product, it's the person who the product represents?
Both ways. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, how I'm 24, getting ready to be 25. The only time I've seen Jordan with my eyes in a basketball jersey, it was for the Wizards. So attachment to his shoes, I don't have the same allure to it as someone that's maybe 10 or 15 years my elder. But at the same standpoint, depending on who's ever working at Nike, they put together a dope colorway with the same aesthetic that they have.
Right.
It might catch my attention.
Right.
So with that being said, I feel like what he did on the court put a brand or put like this huge presence on when you have Jordans, because I think people don't even think of Michael Jordan in the sense when they have the shoes. They just know I got on some Jordans or I'm rocking Dior or something. Right. So it's all about what do you do at the end of the day to build brand presence.
Most definitely. And I feel like having a pivotal person to represent the brand makes up a lot of it, because like you said, when people are wearing Jordans, they may not necessarily be thinking of Michael Jordan's, but you can't rock Jordans without saying his name. You know? And me and you, like, I'm 22, you feel me? So I personally haven't seen Michael Jordan in his prime, but I feel like the legacy that his prime days on the court exactly just solidifies and just carries over throughout time. Because think about it, Penny Hardaway doesn't have people sleeping outside for his shoes, and he was dope. You feel me?
I'll take the. I'll put it to you like, is it Jordan status? No, but he is still making pretty good penny. No pun intended.
Exactly.
Just off the phone pauses and all that. Now, is it Jordan status? Are people sleeping over it? No, but when the pennies drop, it's still respectable.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, you know, his name holds weight, but like that Jordan, it's just something about it
was more consistent.
Exactly. Like the polarization of just Michael Jordan, you know, is what makes that brand just what it is because one, who he is, you know, and I don't know, I feel like just like the I feel like the name of brands also has a lot to do with it too, you know, because think about like the popular brands. We got Gucci. It's a pretty funny word if you really break it down. Gucci, you know, Dior, you know, like Prada, like all these things have like special, like the names of it, you know, just sticks in your mind. It's something you never heard before. And I think like with Michael Jordan and being the pivotal figure that he was on the court, and just like the name Jordan, you can say it very quickly, Jordan. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's there's so many aspects that go into it.
It's definitely, when it comes to branding, it's so many things that go into it where you can go crazy if you try to overthink it. But there's a lot of things that go into it that just make sense.
Facts.
Whether it's you were saying Jordan's very easy to say, or Air Jordan when they were trying to come out for the Nike releases.
Right.
MJ, the number 23, for whatever reason, he could have been 21, it could have been 11. But if you try to put that in your mind on that jersey, it just ain't gonna hit.
Exactly,
but
man.
the 23 is going. So even for me, I came into it. I think a couple of things that I hit out the park, and for me, just my little small victory. Website development. The first URL we had was this stupid website. As far as just the length of the name itself is like Localz Only LLC.com. And unless you knew to put a Z instead of an S, unless you didn't get confused after you put it all together and it didn't look like you just had a bunch of jumbled.
Yeah.
It's a lot to go to. And then the site in general was just another train wreck. But aside from that, I'm limited to where if you just go to your phone right now and literally type in lo95.co, it takes you right to the site.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's your Instagram name. So
exactly. So it's like I just something like that. As far as brand, I just try to make it efficient, because in the times we in, people want stuff quick, efficient, or not even or just pretty much those two, just quick or efficient. So just gotta get with the times and just figure out what you can do to put your product or whatever you're trying to lay out to people, just have it fit.
Makes sense, man. So in 10 years, where do you want this brand to be?
Ooh. If I'm being considerate, I would like to have the value evaluated between 300K close to $1 million, just as far as what revenue it can bring in.
Right.
So with how I see as far as everything laid out, as far as us fulfilling the need of actually having clothes that people want to purchase and involve themselves with, and then still having a brand that people want to attach themselves with, as far as musicians, I think I would just have to continue my efforts, double down on a couple things, and just watch the growth from there. So that's
Most
about
definitely.
it. Just setting goals.
Most definitely, man. And hard work and dedication and consistency will take you a very long way, my friend. And you got all three down packed, bro. I can definitely tell you that, man. I'm very excited to see these shoes revealed tomorrow, man. I'm definitely going to be in town, so pretty excited to see that. And I really wish you the best in the future, man. I got to get me some merch, bro. Like, I got to get me some, man.
Yo, you got to, after we wrap up with this, I'm going to catch a score in the game. You got to come back to my office, and I'll show you some merch. Like, I got some shoes on me, and I got some stuff. So yeah, I'll show you some updates.
For sure, man. We definitely gonna have to get on that, bro. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you online, man? Where they can find your stuff, your website. Just let it all out.
All right, real quick, if you want to go to the Instagram, just type in lo95.co. Again, lo95.co. And if you want to go to the website, again, it's lo95.co. So pretty simple. Localz Only, a brand that lets artists be themselves. And yeah, that's all I got.
Most definitely, man. I really appreciate your time and hanging out with me today, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another episode of YSN Radio. If you made it to the end, thank you very much, man. Make sure you guys go check out my partner, Localz Only. Really dope shit, man. Like I said, this is YSN Radio, the coolest podcast in the South, and I'll catch y'all next time, folks. Peace.